Twitter, tag me to your tweet, mention me on your tweet, and let's bring them here to have some conversations around them. So let's go to Katsina State and show you what is happening there. So this Twitter user put out a letter yesterday, and I'd like to show you that letter right there on your screen. This letter has the letterhead of the government house, Katsina. It was written to the Honorable Commissioner, Ministry for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, Katsina. You can see the stamp there showing receipt of the letter. And that letter is dated 18th January 2023. Approval for release of funds. I'll read it out to you. I am directed to refer to your letter, the number of the letter is there, to convey the approval of His Excellency the Governor for the release of 14,695,588 naira to each of the 34 local government areas, totaling 499 million naira, 650,000 naira. For what? From the available balance of the 34 local governments in the local government joint account to enable the local governments to cater for adequate and effective mobilization of citizens to do what? To receive Mr. President during an official visit to Katsina State from 26th to 27th January 2023. Point 2, attached herewith is a photocopy of the approval for your guidance. Point 3, this letter is copied to the Accountant General, Ministry of Finance, and Auditor General for Local Government for awareness, please. The letter is signed by Yahuza S. Ibrahim for the Permanent Secretary. So the question we want to ask the Governor of Katsina State and the government of Katsina State, Aminu Masari, now is, from the scarce resources of the state and local government, why do you want to pull 499,000, say 500 million rather, just to welcome the president for 2 days, 26th and 27th, and you're taking 14 million naira for 34 local government areas from the available balance of the local government joint account? Money is meant for projects, money is meant for helping the lives of people, for social infrastructure, is what you want to use to welcome the president for 2 days. This is not only disastrous, it is selfish, it is wicked, and a deliberate act to misdirect and misappropriate the resources of the people. So what do you want to do with 500 million naira? Now let's see what people have had to say about that issue on social media. We'll begin with Sam Amadi. Sam Amadi says, it is easy to win election. It is hard to govern well. 500 million naira to welcome president in a state that has great poverty and illiteracy. Bros, I would rather fail than win to commit to this level of iniquity. Ikechukwu comes next, says, and when you see the crowd at the stadium during their campaign, you keep wondering where they gathered those people from. Each local government, 14 million naira, just to come for campaign during election. That means each local government is going to get 100 million naira. When you see them bragging, that's their hope. Man of good conscience says, exactly the kinds of wastages that make it nearly impossible to provide basic amenities to Nigerians. They probably use this to settle those who help them win election. It is such a huge shame and embarrassment. I wish we one day realize how much harm we're doing this country. CNO is the next comment, says, this money is even coming from the state and local government joint account, which is the most annoying thing. So funds meant for the development of the local government, but are being held by the state government. Unfortunate. Remember, during the newspaper analysis segment, we brought you news that the state houses of assembly have decided to kick against local government autonomy. That's because of issues like this, so that they can siphon local government funds, steal local government funds, and use them for issues like this. Now, the next comment is from Rex Ogiri, says, how do you think they get to fill those stadiums, sir? This is their definition of having a structure. In most states, an important job description of council chairman is to mobilize people at short notice for political functions. CFI says, this is how crowds are mobilized for campaigns. From this money, buses are provided, gala and soft drinks are given, plus 1K or 2K as thank you for coming. That's why crowds at rallies never impress me. It's a question of the size of your pocket. The next comment from Nonso Koye says, Peter Obi will have PTSD seeing this, knowing that at a point when he was a governor, he was pressured to expend same amount of money for the visiting president, which he blatantly refused. Now, take that, Orogun Boy says, and surprisingly, that's the president now, might be coming to commission 2 kilometers of roads constructed at 200 million naira, a market constructed at 100 million naira, boreholes and transformers worth 100 million naira, but they are spending 500 million for mobilization. Bunch of criminals. Joseph Isaacs asks, this is the kind of leadership we contend with to provide for the ordinary man. The president visiting has already allocated millions of naira for a strip, and the state used the medium to feed their dogs. Until such change in government, Nigeria will collapse. Peter Obi engineer says, I've seen the source of some of this mammoth crowd is some of this party's campaign. 500 million to mobilize citizens so they will tell us Bubu is truly loved by his people. Well, those are the comments on that particular story this morning. And it is unfortunate. It is very, very unfortunate. Aminu Masari and the other governors in the north. I don't understand why you're doing this. This is wickedness to the people. You're deliberately, shortchanging the people. 500 million naira will go a long way to renovate hospitals, to create job opportunities, build schools, renovate schools. I'm sure that there are some schools in that part of the country, that are dilapidated. So why not focus on repairing them? Why do you need 500 million naira if the president is truly loved by his people? He doesn't need money. You don't need money to mobilize anyone to come. So I'm asking again the government of Katsina, why do you need 500 million naira to welcome the president? We're still talking about money, but this time on a different note. Let's move over to the Central Bank of Nigeria. One of my favorite persons in the world right now, Godwin Emefiele, like I like to call him Murphy Baby, and he's, members of the Monetary Policy Committee yesterday raised interest rate to 17.5% from 16.5%. But that was not the only thing that happened at that Monetary Policy Committee meeting. There's a governor of the Central Bank, Murphy Baby, yesterday said something. He told us that he has no apologies. He doesn't send anybody, if you like, hawk transformer, if you like, cry from now to tomorrow. He has no apologies about the failure or the refusal of the Central Bank to extend the deadline for the cash swap. Let's take a listen to his video.
He says reports suggest that many people want the deadline to be shifted for reasons ranging from their inability to gain access to the new notes or deposit their old currencies. I must say here that unfortunately I don't have good news for those who feel that we should shift the deadline. My apologies. The reason is because, just like the president had said on more than 2 occasions, and even to people privately, that for us 90 days, in fact, we feel is 100 days is enough for anybody who has money or the old currency to deposit the money in the banks. And we took every measure to ensure that all the banks were open or remain still open to receive all old currencies. 100 days, we believe, is more than adequate. We called on the banks. We said, not only are we requesting you to extend your banking hours so that you can receive old currencies, but we're also asking you to keep your doors open on Saturdays. Ladies and gentlemen, the banks did not have any reason to even keep their banking halls open on Saturdays. Neither did they see the kind of rush that they anticipated. There were normal people who came in to deposit money into the banks, and maybe in the course of time, I'll also give you details about how much had come in. So we do not see any reason to begin to talk about a shift because people could not deposit their old monies into their banks.
By the way, do you see how fresh Murphy Baby is? The vacation in the US or the UK must have really done a lot. His head is shiny, his face is popping. Wow, melanin glowing, everything popping. But then Murphy love, we want to apologize for our inability to deposit our old notes. We are begging that you please extend it, because some of us have old people in the rural areas who still have their old notes with them. Please, Murphy, my love, Murphy Baby, on behalf of the entire country, we are sorry for the things we said to you while you were away. It's out of ignorance. Please have mercy and forgive us, and allow the banks to take the old notes in another 7 days, in another 14 days. We would appreciate. In fact, next time you want to contest for president. Anyway, let's see what people have had to say in reaction to that particular video from the central bank. We begin with Oluwatimileye. He says, no going back. I see no reason why people are finding it difficult to deposit their money in the bank. If truly the money is legit, Emefiele really got to many of the politicians with this policy. A journey of 1,000 years begin with a step. Nigeria can be great again. Nibola Tujasibai, from depositing money to a journey of 1,000 years. Anyway, Ismail Abdullahi says the banks are not enough in some areas to attend to the respective populations. True. Need I say, since the introduction of the new note, I only saw it few times. My personal experience. Where shall we get it? From whence shall we get the new notes? Tajuddin Ishola Adebayo says, at Godwin Emefiele, if we deposit old notes in bank and couldn't get the new one, do we have to fast till the banks decide to release the new notes? As late as day before yesterday, the bank ATM was still dispensing old notes. You failed to monitor the banks to do the right thing. And I think this is a failure also on the part of the central bank to monitor the banks, because if you've given directives to the bank asking them to stock their ATMs with the new notes, if they are indeed not stocking the new notes, then they are going against the central bank. They should be sanctioned or something should be done to them. But you cannot stock what you do not have. Now, the next comment is from Aderoju Victor. Says, at Central Bank, banks are still issuing old currency notes across the counter and via ATM point. How feasible is the January 31st deadline? That's the question on the lips of every Nigerian. How feasible is it? Linus Lincoln says that Godwin Emefiele at central banks are monitoring and enforcement of these directives that banks do the right thing by making sure the new notes are available to customers at their ATMs is not carried out by at central bank staff nationwide. Please apply more pressure on the banks and see changes. Inake Theophilot says, but banks are still issuing old currency. Even ATMs are dispensing the old notes till this moment. What we're saying is that we do not have enough new currency in circulation, and that's just the truth. We do not have enough of this new note in circulation. So how do you expect people to grapple with that? We'll move on to Oladimeji Olarewaju Davis. He says, Bobo said 90 days, whereas the money was printed on the 15th of December 2022. That's 31 plus 16 equals to 47 days. Today, yesterday, 24th January 2023, my bank still paid me with old currency. Umar A. Dati says, these guys are truly not in tune with the current realities. And that's just the truth. Banks have been issuing the old Naira notes, and now the masses will have to bear the consequences. And Ade says, what nonsense is this man talking? Please, you don't talk to Murphy Baby like that before he gets angry now and says that, okay, in fact, the deadline is now January 27. Please, Murphy, I know you're watching this. We're sorry. Please don't ignore this man. Don't mind him. Is he going to pretend not to know these commercial banks have also held on to the new Naira notes while they continue to release the old ones into the system? Till date, many ATMs are still dispensing the about to be phased out notes. Abu Abusani is our last commentator. He says the only reason why it is a short timeline is because of elections. APC government officials, mostly Tinubu, have access to all the new notes they need. This is systematic rigging. Again, we must say that comment is the sole prerogative of Abu Sani Joka, not our comments, not our opinion as a media house. We do not know if any politician has access to any of the new Naira notes. These are just social media allegations. These are just statements made by users of the social media. And if you want to arrest anybody, please do well to direct your letters to the appropriate quarters. Again, I want to implore Murphy Baby, my person of the year, to please reconsider your position, please, for the sake of Nigerians, for the sake of people who are not even banked, those who don't even have bank accounts, but who have large amount of old notes in their custody. From the CBN, we move on to a very sad story coming out from Lagos. A young woman, a mother of a child, wanted to go partying. And what did this mother do? She fed her child tramadol, hoping that that would knock out the baby, who is not even up to a year, and that she'll be able to party all night. But she came back. There's a video for that, but I can't show it to you for obvious reasons. It's a very gory video. There was some sort of nudity in the video. But then she came back from that party and met her child stone cold dead. Now, if you could see your screen, there's a picture putting up here. That's a very, very, very fine boy there. That lady went clubbing and gave her child tramadol, locked him inside, in the hopes that by the time she comes back, she would have had her fun. She would have enjoyed herself. But she came back to the sad news of her child dead cold. And she was accosted by, members of the community. She was beaten, stripped naked, but that cannot make up for the loss of the life of that innocent child who died as a result of carelessness, as a result of senselessness by his mother. Let's see how people have reacted. We begin with Abba's daughter says, this happens when a baby gives birth to a baby. Parenting is not for everyone. If your wildlife is more important to you, don't get pregnant. And that's just a fact. If you know that you're not ready, you can't be a parent and decide to live the life of a single person. You have a child to consider now. Even if you're a single parent, your child comes first. Your decisions. I mean, why even go clubbing while you're still nursing a child? But I guess the leopards never changed their spots. We'll move on to Black Zinari. Your cyber pet says, parenting in our generation is getting soiled in the mud. Mothers want to be on the streets to belong and still act responsible in their homes. Parenting is God, a wife, and a husband with spiced up intentionality to be responsible, reasonable, and ready. This is some Aspire to Maguire thing there. If you are an aspiring parent, you must read this comment. I will take Andy Jr. says, parenting and leisure or pleasure hardly goes hand in hand. Young ladies and even married people need to understand this. Tanimola says, a queen and more. 100% wife material. On a daily basis, I get more fears and reasons not to marry. China, this kind set of women fit raise child, they no get them for plan. 100, before you go see one, you go don't lose hope, swears. I mean, I don't even understand this person's writing, but I think what he's trying to say is that this generation has some warped reality, warped sense of reality when it comes to, parenting and marriage. Shinemi says, we have an adopted child in my family because of same reason. The boy got lucky. He didn't die because neighbors complained and my elder sister partially adopted him. Now he is family and we all love him. Calls my sister mom and his mom auntie. She won't visit sometimes after 2 years. Boy is 13 now. If you can't keep them, don't have them. Next comment is from Kofi J. My mom's friend said they used to lock me inside and go to nightclub. Even that I didn't talk to my mom for almost 2 weeks. She saw a sudden change and confronted me. I told her everything and she apologized. But giving the child tramadol is evil. I mean, a tablet of tramadol can knock out a full-grown adult, not to talk of a baby. Gladwell Odogu says, some responsible couples are out there looking for a child, even just one. They spend millions of naira going from one spiritual man to churches to our fans. Just imagine what she did to that innocent child. Olakwa says, what kind of abuse be this? The other day, na father, they give me child smoke. Today, mother give child tramadol. Remember that video of a father giving a baby some cigarette to smoke. Today, it's a mother giving a child tramadol so she can go party. IJ says, this life ain't balanced, to be honest. Some persons are out there praying to have a child, while this one is killing hers. Very, very disheartening. Ali Toyin Smart says, this generation of young people, is the last commentator, is generally lacking one thing, discipline. Because virtually everything has been democratized, including access to the internet and information. We believe we can have our ways with many things and go scot-free. There is no consensus on sanity. Now, we hope that the government steps in. We hope that appropriate authorities pick up that woman, that she's taken to not just a correctional center, but she has to undergo therapy. Again, we're appealing to you as a young person. If you are not ready to keep children and train them properly, do not have them. If you must engage in sexual activities, practice safe sex. Abstinence is still the best, but do well to protect yourself to avoid issues like this. I'm sure that if you are happy to have a child, you will not put them in such situation. You will not kill your child. Now, the last story we have for you today is on the sporting scene. There's a saying that what God has joined together, let no man put asunder. But it seems that football is putting asunder a family. Football is tearing apart a family. Now, if you remember that Manchester United lost to Arsenal 3-2 over the weekend, congratulations, Femi Olanipekun, but you've not won the league. Finally, you get my congratulations, but it's not, you may just end up bottling the league. Now, a Manchester United legend, David Beckham, the legendary number 7 for Manchester United, was at the stadium to watch the match. And at the end of the match, his son, Romeo, was making fun of him. Why? Because Romeo, the son of David, supports Arsenal. So it was a Manchester United father and an Arsenal child. Now, at the end of the game, Romeo put up a tweet, put up something on Instagram and says, "Sleep tight, Dad," making fun of his father. You can see David Beckham's face there, really, really unhappy about his son mocking him and about United losing that match to Arsenal 3-2 on the night. Now let's take some comments for you and see how people have reacted to that. We'll begin with Awais Ishfaq. He says, this weird narrative that he has to support United is odd. Beckham was at Madrid, LA in the US, Milan, Paris when Romeo was a kid, but he mostly lived in London. And when his dad was in the UK, he trained where? In London. Coney at Arsenal's training ground, because that's where England trained. Next comment, Mile High Goody says, this is so bizarre. I mean, just sad. His old man is a club legend for Manchester United and is celebrating his team's win against them. Well done, must feel great, and clearly a lot of unpacked daddy issues with this one. Ebrox Leal says, David Beckham doesn't look sad because his team lost. He's sad because his sons support a different team. You have failed as a dad. Jack says, well, immature considering he's a professional footballer for another Premier League side, albeit they are reserves. Bottom Red. Let's go straight to Bottom Red now. Bottom Red says, yeah. Yes, Jack now says, well, immature considering he's a professional footballer for another Premier League side. Now, Bottom Red says, yeah, he's failed as a father. How the F is this even happening? Apocryphal says, talentless children have no visible sense to choose a football club. Enjoy mediocrity. Yes, Arsenal is a mediocre club. I mean, they've not won any trophy in how many years? Yes. So yes. This is just jokes. Yes, this is just jokes. It's just football banter before you take it seriously. Mark says, United fans crying in the comments because a London boy supports a London club. Nonsense. That's a very interesting spelling of nonsense. Now, this person says, Ira says, if your child doesn't support the same team as you, you have failed as a father. Again, if you're a football fan, this is banter on Twitter, on Facebook, everywhere it happens. People say different things to each other. And what I'm saying to Femi Olanipekun is get ready for your heart to be broken, because, man, you're going to bottle the league. You're going to go on a losing streak. 10 years, 10 matches, you lose, just like my club Liverpool is misbehaving now. But that's where we end the show this morning. And football is already tearing us apart. I suspect Femi Olanipekun is going to have a fisticuff with me after this show. I invite all of you to come watch that. Get your cameras ready. But that's where we end the show on that note this morning. We hope that the government of Katsina State will do well and stop stealing money, stop using money meant for local government to, do 500 million naira to welcome the government. Well, to welcome the president, that's very bad. And then CBN, please reconsider your choices. Murphy baby, my love, please reconsider. And that mother who killed that child, I hope she's charged to court. She's given the appropriate punishment. And of course, she's rehabilitated for the next child that she will have. And then do well to understand that football banter is just what it is. It is banter. That's why we leave the show this morning. Follow us on social media, on all of our social media platforms, as you can see on your screen, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and on YouTube. My name is Emmanuel Ujiadegele at EM Ujiadegele on Twitter, on Facebook, Emmanuel Ujiadegele. Do well to stay on the safe side of the law. Get your PVCs if you have not. And eat well, sleep well, and I'll see you tomorrow.